hubris, blindness, shame. Lesser agents to anger, fear, and hate, but agents all the same. These are words spoken or thought of by Yoda, and it's not the latest, but it's the Age of Rebellion special featuring Yoda, IG-88, and Porkins and Biggs, or Darklighter, I guess I should say, if we're going by last names. And I have a lot of thoughts about this, and in fact, I'm coming back to finish a video, and so I want to live, as flawed as the Jedi are, I kind of want to live the Jedi way. Of course, I have my own religion, but I think the Jedi, there's a lot you can glean from them and the way they handle things, think about things. And I think there's a lot of good there, and I'm always trying to be a better person. So finding points of inspiration or people to emulate or things to emulate is a positive for me. And I'm saying all this because I have some very negative things to say about the last segment of this comic book, but I'm going to go ahead and start transitioning into that and kind of kick it to myself for the video review I did earlier, and then I'm going to pick it back up for the end to wrap it up. So I guess what I want to say is, you remember Neapolitan ice cream? I don't know if you've ever eaten Neapolitan ice cream, but it's where there's chocolate and vanilla and strawberry. Now, I don't like the strawberry for several reasons, but it's just not very good. And I was watching Cloudy with a Chance Meatballs with my kids like a month ago, and it rained down Neapolitan ice cream, and a bunch of kids cheered and ran over to the chocolate and vanilla, and one kid cheered and ran over to the strawberry. And that confirmed to me that it's probably true that most people dig the chocolate or the vanilla or the combination of the two over the Neapolitan in that ice cream. Now, the reason I mention Neapolitan ice cream is because it's 3 different flavors. 2 of them are good, one's really good, and one is not my taste. And that's the same thing that's going on in this Age of Rebellion comic. Oh boy. So John Adams, Jon, John without an H, Adams, wrote Biggs, Darklighter, and Jack Porkins in Stolen Valor. And that one was hard for me. Very, very hard. I didn't like it, and I outline all those reasons, all the reasons why in the book or in the review. But I was a little hot under the collar, so I will more soberly just say one thing, which is that I think the approach to that comic or that story was fine. It's even fine for Star Wars, but the juxtaposition to the chocolate and the vanilla that were these other 2 stories, and I don't know. I really like vanilla ice cream. I don't know why, but chocolate's probably better. So anyway, the Yoda story in this one is chocolate because it's the best. The vanilla is the IG-88, and the strawberry is definitely the Rebel pilots. And for me, it was less the style of it and the presentation, and it was more that it was really inconsistent. When I thought about it more and more, I thought, wait a minute, Porkins starts out acting one way, feeling one way, being remorseful, and then they come back and they're confronted with things, and it's like there's zero consistency, zero change. It's not even like giving a fair shake to the characters or the world, because it's so ridiculous. It casts the Star Wars world as so ridiculous, as opposed to saying like, yeah, these are people caught up in a war for freedom. They're maybe selfish and blinded by their own greed or wants, or they're hurt. Hurt people. It just casts it as like the thought behind why these people do the things they do, why Porkins will continue to, massacre people, so to speak, even though he feels all this guilt about it and remorse about it. There's no weight to the character. It doesn't make any sense to me. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let myself do the rest of the review. You can check it out. Hope you enjoy it. This story I did not have much to say about. There was one impactful panel that I liked and that I paid great attention to, and it's this one right here. You don't need to have read the story. You don't really need to know what's going on, but this is a sad guy right here. Look how sad. Very, very sad. I'm not into this IG-88 story. It doesn't really do anything for me. Again, this is good mournful drawing, especially because, like, these walrus men or whatever. The Men in Black joke is funny. Anyway, like, they don't exist, but, like, that's good job making the emotion there. And I like it even more because, like, Well, what's fun about this is this guy goes from emotion, being sad, to vengeful, murderous rage, but he's still empty afterwards, because even though he got to kill, because whatever reasons, it doesn't really matter. And the reason I'm being so vague is because I'm not really focusing on the story, because like this random story about IG-88 doesn't really matter to me. I got it because it was Star Wars, and I like Star Wars, but it doesn't mean I like everything in it. But it didn't really grab me. So this is kind of cool, though. They've got a little cameo of, like here's Embo and Dengar, and I'm sure that's Black Chrysanthemum. What is that? Is that Zuckuss or Farrell? I can never remember. But anyway, so like, yeah, this IG-88 story didn't do it for me, but that's okay. It doesn't need to. There was one great thing in it, and that was that really awesome image, really well done work, this guy being so sad. I'm going to find out who the artist is real quick. It says the artist for the long game is Caspar Wingard, or Wingard. I don't know how to say that name, sorry. But good job, Caspar. Nice work. So, this Yoda comic is great. It's technically called The Trial of Dagobah. Actually, I'm going to go look who wrote it real quick. Let's see. Here we go. So, it was written by Mark Guggenheim. The art was done by Andrea Brocardo, which the art is fabulous. And the artist, the color artist, or colorist, whatever, is Dono Sanchez Almada. So, both the coloring and the actual pencils are fabulous. All the Star Wars comics, as far as I have read, all use very realistic coloring, which is something I've not complained about, but I kind of mentioned it in my Padme review. It's very interesting that they don't go more stylistic, but it works here, just I think because of Yoda's colors and Yoda's colors and like the background. It doesn't get muddy, and I love this thing that they do in Star Wars comics that I haven't seen anywhere else. They'll use like this border paneling, or they've got a border, an extra border around images like this, and they'll color it differently. So like in the Vader comics, it's been used for memories. I think throughout the Age of Republic series, it's been used for different stuff. It's been used for this too, and that's really cool. I really like that. Good stuff. This is a reason to buy the book alone. This Yoda story is a reason to buy the book. I'm not going to spoil anything. It talks about the hubris of the Jedi and Yoda's failing and why he's in exile and stuff, and it features these cool cat, bat, rat things. They really do look like them. Anyway, interesting. And Yoda goes hunting. He builds himself a bow and arrow, or a bow, and then constructs arrows. I'm recovering from a cough. Oh, here's a great instance. These are not realistic colors. These are not realistic colors at all, but they look so good. All that contrast. So, yeah, that's cool. And this is neat because, he gets this sudden shock. You can see it's almost like a spider sense. I mean, it's a common thing in comics. He's got this sudden shock. You can see his face looks very full of attention and awareness, and it's almost like his eyes are wide open. And it's heavily it's bolded. It's not uneventful, and then you can see, and it gives away to this whole thing. And it's cool because you have a moment of killing and impact and I don't know, not danger necessarily, but it's a very impactful thing. And the character is in realistic colors, the immediate surroundings, but then around it there's this shock of orange, and it represents death or danger or whatever. And then you get that again here in this panel, and it looks great. And again, this art is fabulous. It's just fabulous. Anyway, I love this blue sky too, and these weird little birds I've never noticed on Dagobah. Regular earthly type lizard here. They have their snakes there too. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. The story was great. The art is fabulous on this one. I definitely suggest getting the book just for this one. Even look at this. I love this simple, passage of time as the stuff's coming down on him, the debris coming down on him. But anyway, I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to read the last part with the pilots, and then we'll pick up from there. I don't know who wrote this, but I'm about to find out. But this point is where I quit. So-and-so are dead? Yeah, and Jezri, and Vuv, and also Neethi, Sherlock's, and Larry, Appleton, all killed while you... that was the last straw. This was the second to the last straw. I just think we need to kill them before they kill us. If one of us is going to die, it's not going to be me. And it'll be a slow death for whoever killed these other two. I don't know what to say about this. The premise of this little story here about these two, Biggs Darklighter and Jack Porkins in Stolen Valor. It says, even the most courageous and noble heroes need a vacation. John Adams was the writer and artist, and Chris O'Halloran was the color artist. So, here, let's go here. First of all, I'd like to say kudos for having the courage to, well, no, I don't want to say that. I want to say this is competently well-made comics right here. I mean, this stuff looks good. And I'm not about to say what you think I'm about to say. By the way, this kind of set me on edge. Basically talking about how great it is to feel the thrill of almost dying, and he's ambivalent to all this death and whatever, like a very postmodern, I don't know what. And then he gets hit with a hologram thing of a guy in his family, which is, terribly sad, because this Imperial pilot was probably, who knows what his motivations were for becoming a pilot, but, here he is fighting and he dies. It's a war. People die on both sides. It's sad. Other Star Wars stories have explored the idea of heroes on both sides much better than this, which gets Porkins and Biggs on a vacation in this psychedelic planet, which is pretty cool. And I will say I love the coloring on this. The creativity of some of the character design is interesting. It's cool. But this looks like Scooby Doo. There's a show called Be Cool Scooby Doo. And it's Scooby Doo, but hipster time. This is what this is, and or millennial time, and I don't like it. I mean, there were little bits of it were funny. This is legitimately funny, them writing on that thing together and stuff. But I don't know that I can accept humor in Star Wars. God, I love the coloring, the contrast, and the coloring. The character designs are a little weak for me. I like them to be a little bit different, but I like how outlandish some of these aliens are. So there's good and bad. I hope for a moment that this was Ray Sloan, but I'm pretty sure it's not, and that's okay. But I don't it's the humor in this is terrible, and then the morals and the ethics of it are terrible too, because they're talking. So they lied about while they're on vacation, some crazy stuff happened, or no, I think they're talking about. I think they're talking about here a hypothetical of what they're supposed to do with people. In this war, how savage should they be and whatever, versus redeeming people who are Imperials or whatever. And it just, I don't get it. I don't know that this writer actually wants to seriously handle the question, if they have any answers, if they think it's fun to not have answers or what. But, I don't know. And they did the art too, which I like elements of the art, this, the colors pop, and I get the sense of motion in the characters and everything, although, she could be running a little harder. But, I don't know, man. It's, what is this? I don't like it. It's not for me. If you enjoyed it, that's fine. But, I almost just stopped reading here, and I thought, well, let me see how much more. There's only one, that's the last page, so I'll look at it or whatever. But, yeah, I find this very displeasing. Oh, look at that. Clog the toilets again. Ha ha ha, how funny. It's too, this says elsewhere. No, this is so pedestrian, it's so earthly, it's so here and now, that it takes me out. It's why make this Star Wars? It doesn't make sense. Don't do Star Wars if you're going to do this, in my opinion, because it's not the medium for it. That's all I have to say. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Despite the fact that I really enjoyed the art in the Yoda comic much better, and the story overall much better, this single image is still probably the most striking. I flip through the book blindly like I do sometimes, or without reading, I should say, and this image really, struck me. So, actually, it hit me after I was reading it, but it caught me, and I think it was really good, and it's probably the second best thing out of this. The story overall from Yoda is the best part of this comic, I think. Anyway, I hope I wasn't too salty in the negative parts of this review. It really did hit me like a ton of bricks. That was not fake at all. It was totally genuine, my emotions as they were, occurring, as I was feeling them. And anyway, that's it. But you can see more of my work at mjmunoz.com. If you want to help me buy more comics, review more comics, spend more time talking about Star Wars and other things, you can support me through coffee.com/mjmunoz. You can like this. That'll really help me a lot. You can share. That'll help even more. And for yourself, you can subscribe and ring that bell so you can get notified every time I put out another Star Wars comic review or tokusatsu review or anime review of some sort. That's it. May the Force be with you.